And we are live here on YouTube and on Facebook. Welcome to the Monster Report Live. I'm your host, Nick Adam Poling, and we're so glad you're here. And I'm going to bring my special guest here in just a second. Monster Report's a show that highlights those entertaining creatures of film history. And if you're a monster movie fan, if you're a Godzilla fan, Gamera, Rodan, Mothra, all of those great things, you're in the right place. And I like to bring on Kaiju fans like myself just to talk about their love of Kaiju, their love of Godzilla. How did it all start? Where did it take them? Maybe they're a Kaiju content creator like myself, and I love bringing them on to talk about kind of why they chose to become a content creator, and people like Godzilla fan freaks who's in the house. So, Everett, what's up, man? Good to have you. And Everett and I have done some collabs together, and he's just one of the other great monster channels that are out there. Godzilla toys and vinyl albums, all kinds of cool stuff. So you definitely want to go to Godzilla Fan Freaks and subscribe to his channel. But today we are going to bring on a Kaiju content creator and Godzilla fan, monster fan all together. We've got Walter, aka Jedi Grand Velle. Good to have you, Walter.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yes,
happy
thank
to be
you
here.
so much. Yeah, and we've been talking about doing this for a while, and now we finally arrived, right?
Yes, I mean it was. Oh my goodness! I mean, and it was funny about this. That whole thing is, it happened. It was going to go down back in February, but then something happened to me on my side, and it just went out the window real quick. But fate stepped in and we got back together. I built myself back up on Facebook, and here we are now, and we're doing it. And hey, maybe it just took time. It needed a little bit more simmering, but here we are now.
Yeah, that's right. Just kind of the brief overview. I know I had Walter had, he and I had scheduled something, and then he had the Facebook issue. And I thought, oh no, he fell off the face of the earth. Oh no, I was worried about the guy. And I even reached out to a mutual friend, Nick Latimer, who's also a YouTuber. And I think he was able to reach out to you. It's like, Walter's safe. He's good. Yeah,
he's good. he's living. He's in the land of the living. He's good.
Yeah, having some technical issues, but he's still around. So we've reconnected, and that is great. I know in between the time you and I talked back then, you've even had the chance to go to G Fest and enjoy that.
Yes, I mean that was one of the highlights of my year so far. I mean, going back to G Fest, we went to a new hotel. Had to get used to it, but it's not the crown, but I mean, get used to it. But as I've told people before, G-Fest is not the event, it's the people that you come in contact with. And coming to see people, some of them were not there, but I saw a lot of familiar faces, and it was just like we never left. And I was just so just very passionate about seeing all these people that it was just like, yes, this is why I go to G-Fest, to meet these people, to hang with them, and just show my, love for them, and know that we all love what we're here for, and knowing that I got to do that, because it almost seemed like I was like, it was not going to happen, because I didn't say it before, but I wasn't going to go at first this time. But fortunately, as I said before, fate stepped in and said, you're going. And I'm so glad that I did. And like I say, it just brought back so many memories for the times that I went to the first time to this one, And yeah, I'm just glad that I did go. And hopefully I'll go, which I will. I'll be going next year again. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, seeing that we've been friends on Facebook and on social media, but we've not met in person. But when you go to cons like that, you do get to meet in person. Unfortunately, it's probably, for me, G-Fest is the wrong time of year. It's the same time as my kids' 4-H stuff that's going on. So it's a real tough time for me to get there. But I think there's going to be a con out there you and I can connect on and meet in person at some point.
Which I hope so, because I've noticed this All Monsters Attack is going on. I think it's over now, but I would love to just blend in and go to, because that's kind of my plan there, to actually, branch out and go to different cons, not just defense. Not that I say I don't like it, but I do want to go and try to go to these different ones. And hopefully, you know, like I say, God forbid, I'll be able to go to one, whether it be in January or December or whatever. And like I say, we get to meet each other in person. And it's like, yes, I'm meeting Nick Adam right now, you know, and it's like, he's a great, you know, the Monster Report. I was like, yes, you know, and here's the thing about me. Most people who know me, who have met me already, when they see me or I see them, I get my eyes light up. I seriously, my eyes just like blow up like balloons. And I say, wow, that's that person there, you know, and it's like, and I show them my affection. I mean, I know it may be over the top, but that's just how I am. You know, I'm just that kind of person who just admires and appreciates these individuals. And you're one of those individuals that I would love to have the opportunity to meet. So when we do meet in person, which we will, don't be surprised if I want to give you a great big hug. Okay.
No worries there. Yeah, I'm glad when I finally meet people that have interacted online. And one of the things I'm telling people out there is that why I wanted to bring Walter on so long ago, and would have been one of my first guests on the live stream, because now I'm doing things on live rather than pre-recorded, is because of his enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm on your posts, how much you love this content, how much you can't get enough of it, is just is contagious to fans that, you know, this is just part of their life. And I was like, you know, this guy, it is more than just a part of his life. It is a part of who he is, and he can't get enough of it. And so just like our fans who are here in the chat, we've got Loosely Collected in the house. Howdy. Godzilla Fan Freaks is working on his Tucson Kaiju Festival. He's had one of them a few years back. I didn't get the chance to go, but he gets that off the ground, I'll be going to that. So, yeah, I love supporting content creators, and I know you're a content creator. We'll get to some of that as we get to that point, but I wanted to talk about your Kaiju upbringing. Where did it start? Did it start way early on, or is it more of a recent thing? Take me back.
Well, to do that, I'm gonna have to take you way back to the days when Carter was in office, and pretty much back in the 70s. This is going way back, because I'm pretty sure you know I'm kind of over the hill. As the saying goes, when you say over the hill, I'm like in my early 50s. So, in case anyone didn't know, I am. I might not look as some people say, but I am. But yes, going back to the 50s, going back to the 70s. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm making myself older than I am. I'm sorry. Going back to the 70s. This is back in early 70s. I hadn't heard of Godzilla. This is my time, like early 75, actually the summer of 75. And I had never heard of Godzilla. Of course, I was a little lad, you know, nothing more than, you know, nothing knowing enough about the world or whatever. And my brother just coincidentally bought, and I just happen to have it here, the issue of Famous Monsters of Filmland, the 100 page version. And let me just tell you now, this particular book, he bought it, you know, just for the fun of it. But me personally, I was introduced to this, and from then on, this was the catalyst that started my love for kaiju, but Godzilla in general, and everything else. And it really got the ball rolling, because I was like, who or what is this Godzilla character, you know? And I was just like, and see, at that time, I was a person who was growing up, you know, pretty much didn't have a father in their life, you know. It's the old cliche, you know, everything. And as a person who had just an incredible imagination, see, my imagination is like off the Richter scale almost, just about. So seeing this and seeing all these pictures and, you know, just these different monsters and everything, these different kaijus, I was like, what is this? You know, what is this Godzilla? What is this Rodan? What is this, you know, these gargantuans. What is this? What is this? And like I say, it just fed me. I became pretty much obsessed, just overwhelmed, and as a kid, that's just like kid in a candy store kind of motif. So it stuck with me, like everything that impacts me. And at that time, I was watching old Star Trek, shows, reruns at that time, and then movies like Star Wars came out, then Superman, and eventually I would see my very first Godzilla film, coincidentally, in this room here with my brother who bought the magazine, Godzilla versus Megalon, that year in 1977, with John Belushi playing Godzilla in that Godzilla costume, that was shown on SNL, and he was doing those little bits and everything, and that just stuck with me. But seeing that film, seeing Godzilla for the first time, but seeing these other monsters, these other kaiju, Megalon, Gigan, and my favorite, of course, Jet Jaguar, I was just like, oh my, I was just like, something took over me, something just like, wow, I'm just like, it started with that, like I say, with the magazine, but after that film, it's like everything changed forever, like everything else, I was coming out at that time, because I'm very influential when it comes to, stuff like that. That's, hits me in the feels, hits me with my imagination. So time went by, and like I say, my love for Godzilla kept growing. In fact, I went to my first Godzilla theatrical experience with, coincidentally, the same brother who bought the magazine. We went to the drive-in when drive-ins were popular, and we went to go see Godzilla versus Gigan, which was, of course, called at the time Godzilla on Monster. Let me get my title straight. Yeah. Godzilla on Monster Island, and like I say, I think it was like I was like 7 or 8, but basically watching it, even though I love the kaiju events and everything, what was going on, I could tell it was kind of dark. That film was kind of dark for me, in terms of what was going on. But at the same time, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So just that, I just feel like I want more. I want more of this. And as I began to as I got older and started to do research, because we didn't have internet at the time, of course. But as time progressed, yeah, exactly. So that shows how old I am. It shows how far back I go. Getting into the 80s, and I didn't have cable at that time too. That's another thing. You didn't have cable. When cable was available, you could see pretty much any Godzilla film any time, but didn't have it at the time. So my next kaiju film, or Godzilla film, was King Kong versus Godzilla. But I saw it over my sister's house when she had cable, because we still didn't have cable when I was with my mom. And when I watched that, and here's the thing, and this is example of what I'm talking about as far as me having a vivid imagination. I thought of a concept of Godzilla versus Kong in my head. In fact, I drew, if I had it, I would show it to you. I actually drew a little sketch of Godzilla and Kong fighting. But the thing is, I had Godzilla being the size that he was, and Kong being the size he was in the 30, in the in the 30, I'm trying to say 1933 version of himself, being that tall, and him being this midget compared to this giant behemoth here. And like I said, I drew this out and everything, but I didn't realize there was a film called that, King Kong versus Godzilla. And when I saw it, it's like, wait a minute, how come Kong is a little bit bigger than what they expected, But I realized you have to stretch the imagination. But the fact is, somebody already done it. Even though I had never heard of it, when I finally did see it, I was like, oh, wow, this is better than what I imagined, And that's the thing. Like I say, I have such a vivid imagination. And the thing, but the thing is, watching it, it was kind of surreal knowing that some of the stuff that I drew, some that I kind of thought of, they actually did in the film, even though the film is like, when I saw it, it was actually in 82, which was 20 years later when the film originally came out. They did some things that I had actually written down or drew on paper and everything. I was like, wow, it's like someone got into my head, but it was already there on the screen, dude. So don't get too excited. Don't take all the credit. But it was just amazing to me how influential this creature, well, just the kaijus in general, were affecting me. Because, like I say, growing up, you know, I was pretty much, well, like I say, without a father figure. I was pretty much bullied, you know, growing up. It was just that kind of time of my life. And that was my escapism. And Godzilla, like so many other things, like films and everything, that was just imaginary, just sci-fi. That was my escapism. And it helped me to realize that Godzilla was more than just this, you know, big, you know, this guy in a costume, you know, some guy who's acting when, you know, doing that. I realized Godzilla really represented something to me that, as I mentioned before, didn't have a father growing up. Godzilla was that father figure for me. He was a father figure for me growing up. And I felt like, yeah, and the thing is, Godzilla, even though he's the kind of person that does these things, you know, he could be bad or he could be good. The bottom line about him is that he fights his battles, you know, and he doesn't back down from anything, you know. And I realized, like, if I had that kind of father figure, or I had a father at all that was around, I can learn from knowing that, you know, you got to stand up to whatever bullies. Because, like I say, you get bullied, but you realize you got to take a stand. And Godzilla takes those stands. And that's why I say Godzilla is a metaphor for a lot of things, even though he's a metaphor for, you know, nuclear waste, you know, nuclear pretty much neglection and everything. I found him more as a father figure to my life. And he still is like that, you know. I mean, and I can explain that to people because they actually say that's pretty interesting, you know, that he's a father figure, you know. But yeah, he's somebody that I find helps me know that you don't have to be put in a corner and just be, you know, kept there, you know. You can, you know, when it's time, when it's right, you know, fight the right battles that's necessary, not that it's needed, you know. I mean, because some things don't need to come out that way. I mean, you might want to do some kind of, you know, fisticuff kind of situation, but it doesn't have to go that way. And Godzilla, he's the kind of individual that's not going to just, you know, put in the corner and pretty much you say, hey, yeah, you can put me in a corner, but watch out. I might have to sucker punch you in a second, you know? And that's kind of the thing, because people don't, you never know who's going to be able to stand their ground. And Godzilla is one of those individuals that stands his ground, but also knows that what is a fight worth fighting for, you know? And I've seen that time and time again, even when he's the villain, even in those Heisei films, you know, he's just doing what he does. He's just an animal doing what he does, but he's not going to fight something just to be fighting them, you know? And to me, I feel like he is a generalization of a father that I didn't really have growing up, knowing that he was, I mean, like I say, he was around and everything. My father was, but knowing that he was that father figure for me, it helped me realize that not all fathers, not all men out there like yourself are deadbeat dads. They actually stay there, be good authority figures, be disciplined to their kids. And that's the kind of thing that I appreciate, knowing that Godzilla has been like that for my entire life and still is, you know. I mean, even though I'm not a father myself, I can be a father figure to whoever might need to be, because, you know, some of these kids out here, some of these new generations, they don't have that. And I know I can be that for them. And I can say I can pretty much thank Godzilla for that, you know.
Yeah. Hang on to that. I want to explore a little of that. That brings some questions to mind. I want to get some guys who are in the chat here and then come back to that, because I think you've hit upon some interesting questions that brings a whole new perspective to me. So we've got Lee Powers in the house.
Okay, Lee. All right.
Yeah. And,
what's up?
Everett's at work, so don't tell his boss, but he is listening to us. He's a Jet Jaguar fan as well. He's got a local friend making first ever Godzilla Fan Freaks art, and Jet Jaguar's in the lineup. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. Bobby Reynolds is in the house. Good to see you. Yeah, Everett's also a big fan of 62, his favorite. We've got Autistic Lizard Production in the house. Yeah, he is.
Hey, yes.
Yeah. And I think I've got a guest appearance coming up on his show at some point, so I'm looking forward to that.
He's cool. He's a cool dude. Yeah. Very much. See.
Well, yeah, and that's what I wanted to. So obviously, your background, like mine, is Showa. It begins with Showa, I should say. It's not ended there, but it began there with Showa, the tokusatsu, and so with this notion that Godzilla as a father figure, how did you react when you did get the chance to see Son of Godzilla and All Monsters Attack with the literal training of a father to his son? How did you react to that?
I felt kind of, I can say right now, it was bittersweet for me personally, because as I said, knowing how some guys, or in girls too, how they don't have that attachment to their strong father figure. Looking at it, it's just like, yes, I wish I had that growing up. I wish I had, even though my mom was there, my mom, God bless her, rest her soul and everything, she pretty much did the father thing, but mother thing too, making sure I was nurtured and cared for and everything. But I realized that, like anything else, children need both their mother and their father. They do need that. I know they can't be raised by the father, they can't be raised by the mother separately, but they do need those attachments there. They do need those entities in their lives. So watching him in Son of Godzilla teaching Minya, I was just like, wow, this is exactly how, and it's kind of funny. That's kind of how I pictured it, because seeing him actually teaching someone or something, how to, not just breathe fire, but showing that, hey, let me show you how to roar. Let me show you how you got to, stand up. Because in All Monsters Attack, he said you got to stand up to your bullies. You got to stand up to those ones who push you around. Try to take advantage of you. And it almost kind of foreshadowed my life. Because I've had that in my world. Growing up, and like I say, I didn't see Son of Godzilla and All Monsters Attack until I was into my late teens. But it's a real moment, because it just represented exactly what I was going through in my life back in the 70s. Because like I say, when I was so small, I got picked on and everything, and I didn't have that father figure around, just to say, hey, son, pick yourself up. You'll be able to deal with this later, everything. And I didn't really have that, even though my mom was there. I wish I still had that grooming of my father there. But watching the films, it just pretty much said what I thought. It's like Godzilla is a better father than most of these fathers out there, the human populace fathers out here. It's kind of, and that made me think, it's kind of sad how a monster who can be destructive, be all powerful and destroy stuff, is far better than these humans who do these things, and it's like, how is it that this monster is showing off human society in some kind of way when he's, teaching, an infant or a child, and it just made me realize, like, that is exactly how, parents, because it's, as I've mentioned before, Godzilla for me was a father figure, but also Godzilla, like so many other kaijus, they represent a reflection of what human society should be in a better way of themselves, because you got to remember, we've seen this where, we've seen how, and through the movies, if you look through all the movies, whether it be Showa, Heisei, a Millennium, even the Shins, they have an embedded message in there. And one of the things I've realized watching Son of Godzilla and even with All Monsters Attack is really showing that, parents, you have to really be better with your kids. I mean, if you have them, make sure that you take the time and responsibility to make sure that they're raised to where they won't think that, okay, why did my mother or father have me? What was the purpose of that? And if you did have them, make sure you teach them, not just to say, defend yourselves or anything, but show them that I care for you. I care all my heart that I wanted to have you. If I had that same sentiment with my father, I could have understood. But I realized that years later, I would get that, from my father. We would mend our ties, we would, heal some wounds and all that. And like I say, those films kind of represent something that I think is a reflection of what humans should be, a better version of themselves, even though we know time and time again that's not always the case. Human beings are never the best of themselves, but it's funny how monsters tend to be way better than these humans, and it's just like, well, that's just how they are, And like I say, Son of Godzilla, All Monsters Attack were perfect examples of showing how Godzilla was just a really better father than any father that I know. I mean, not to say that you're not a good father, Nick. I have seen fathers before and after who really put their foot down and really do a great job at being these great dads and stick with it and say, hey, I had you. I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to make sure that you don't make no mistakes as I made in the past. And hopefully you be a better version of me. And that's all I think that's what Godzilla shows, be the better version of yourself.
Well, and didn't Mr. Nakajima, with his portrayal of Godzilla through this 200-pound suit that he's wearing, the personality of Godzilla pierces through that suit, and he becomes that personality. And it's like, well, how difficult can it be? Put on the suit and just start, clawing around at things. No, he was able to emote those emotions, and through the special effects work of Eiji Tsuburaya to be able to carry out. Why is it he is beloved? Well, the personality did come out. And why is it that you shed a tear when he dies, essentially in 54? Why do you shed a tear at the end of 84, 85 when he's going into the volcano? Because there is that personality that's showing through. We have got Kaiju Kim in the house.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi.
Yeah, and I know she has her Sunday live stream, so she must be fresh off her live stream. So good to have you, Kim.
Oh.
Yeah, and Autistic Lizard Productions also talking about the Showa era and Ebera, Horror of the Deep, because the human characters, the islands, and the monster water battle. Also a great film, a great showing of Godzilla's personality coming through there too. He's just doing what comes naturally to him. He's protecting his territory, he's protecting his son and Son of Godzilla and All Monsters Attack. So you can really rely on him falling in line with what he should be. And you're right. There's a lack of good fathers out there. I am heartwarmed to hear your story of how you were able to mend your relationship from your personal life. That is so wonderful. We all, if you're a Christian today, you're saying that we all fall short of the glory of God. Well, we are all sinners. Yes. So we can come back. We can be forgiven. And I think that's wonderful.
Exactly. There you go. And I just want to add something. And when you mentioned about Mr. Nakajima, playing Godzilla in the roles, I realized he really did do that. He really brought his kind of humanity, as I like to say, through Godzilla playing those parts. And in Son of Godzilla, this is the thing I meant to mention this. How when they made the scientists made the island snow and island and everything. Yeah. When Godzilla was trying to leave without freezing up, me was, I can't make, that was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. A father. He's like, we got to go. Yeah, but he's like, okay, you can't make it, I'll stay with you. And when he hold Ming in there, I have to say, I almost cried watching that part. I mean, it's just like, that was almost a tearjerker for me, because it's like, I wished more fathers were like this, knowing full well, if your child is in danger or they can't make something or can't do anything for themselves, stick with them to the end, even if they're in, do that for them. And I love the fact that the suit actors like Nakajima, like Sasasumu, they really brought out that human persona through their suit acting, because it really brought out the showing that, yes, even though Godzilla is supposed to be this malevolent force, he does have more of a quote unquote more human aspect about him than anything. Not because he's being played by humans, but he's actually better human than some humans. It's crazy to sound, but that's kind of true.
Yeah, and you connect with that, and then it's like when I tell people to go back and watch the Showa films, watch the tokusatsu, the actual suit acting of the classic kaiju films, not just Godzilla. Some of the non-Godzillas the same way, because you still have a lot of the same suit actor, of course, Nakajima playing other people. But yeah, there was plenty that were out there. So going from childhood into adulthood, and I imagine you stuck with Godzilla because you're still a Godzilla fan, you're still collecting, and you even got yourself a YouTube channel. Take us forward. Where did it take you from there, and what kind of doors did it open up in your life?
Oh, well, now here's the interesting thing about my channel. I should say it was actually started by accident. It wasn't started by, decision. I mean, when I say decision, it wasn't started by me saying, I'm going to start up a YouTube channel and do it this way. No, believe it or not, I started the YouTube channel. I started my channel up because I was trying, and this is going to sound so weird, but this is absolute truth. I started because that was the only place I could post videos that I was trying to post on Facebook. This was at a moment where I couldn't post anything on Facebook for some reason at that time. I don't know. It was bad phone or whatever. But I said, well, this is a perfect outlet where I can post, my videos, whatever I post, whatever I record. And the first video I put up was just saying who I am. I just said, this is Walter, and I just put it there. It's going on 7 years when I posted that. But as time progressed, I realized, well, okay, this could be more, because at the time it was just called Walter Ross. That's what my channel was, just Walter Ross. It wouldn't make a big difference because I wasn't going to really make no big deal about it. But as time progressed, I decided to say, why don't you just rename it, and just start posting. When I say putting stuff on there that, that is kaiju related, makes sense. I mean, it's your channel. You're not, I mean, you're working and everything, but you can still upload stuff that you find fun, you find interesting. And I said, yeah, Walter, you can do that. So I've been doing that for the better part of 4 or 5 years, because before it was just random stuff that I was posting, nothing major or out of the way. But after that, I say, I'm just going to post pretty much anything kaiju related, anything, it's basically just this stuff that I order or whatever. But sometimes I talk, because I recently talked about how Godzilla and Godzilla versus Kong, my interpretation of what that film kind of represented. And, it was just my rant, I put spoilers out there, but I was feeling how I felt about the film. And like I say, the channel is, it's like it's small. It's not really, it's kind of like Kong when I was dreaming them up when I was battling Godzilla. It was kind of that small, but it was never really meant to, it was never really meant to garner any subscribers, and I was surprised when I started seeing subscribers coming on there, especially when I started doing these other live streams with these other fellows, content creators. And I'm just kind of like, whoa, where are these people coming from, these subscriptions, So it's like, I shouldn't be getting no subscribers. You know what I mean? I'm just what you call, like I say, I'm just small time. You know, that's pretty much it. But like I say, I've done three other live streams with some people, and I recently did it with Autistic Lizard. You know, I was just like, and I don't do it for representation of my channel or anything. I do it because, like what I'm doing now, I do it for fun. You know, I do it because, you know, someone asked me, and it's like, I want to do this. I want to just show my appreciation, how much I love, you know, the Kaiju tokusatsu films. You know, I love this stuff. I love sci-fi. I love not so much horror. I mean, if it's done well, you know, I love fantasy. I love that stuff. You know, I'm just basically that kind of person who loves these kind of films and, you know, or aspects or books or whatever. And I said to myself, you know, just start doing that, you know, because as you can see, I have a few things right here that are Kaiju related, like, well, I mean, I didn't plan on putting this out, but this little Kong from Kong Skull Island, you know,
Beautiful.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
like that. But oh, here, let me show you this. I'll just do this quick. Something like this, you know, books like this showing Mr. Nakajima, you know.
Oh, wow.
Stuff like this, you know, I collect this stuff because I didn't before, couldn't collect it because there was no outlet for collecting, and come in contact with other, you know, Kaiju fans and everything. They helped me to branch out and find different places where you can get this stuff. And I was like, Walter, just put it on me. I was putting it on Facebook before, but I was like, you have a channel, put it there. You know what I mean? Just put it there, you know, because that'll be showing that, okay, you are a monster lover. You love this stuff. Post it there. And anything else that you come in mind with, like, you know, as far as this or that, anything Kaiju related, put it there. You know what I mean? Because that's basically what it's all about. You know, it's not something to, you know, make no big heave about it. But if it, one thing about my channel, you know, if it grows more than what it is now, you know, I'm going to be kind of shell shocked a little bit, but at the same time say, well, I'm ready for it, you know, because it lets me know that if someone sees my stuff, then that shows that, okay, you need to start trying to do something different. And I realized, like, that's what I'm kind of doing, because I want to do something more than just showing, you know, this stuff, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's like I say, my channel was started by accident. It was not started to make waves or anything like that. It's just funny how I got noticed by other people. And I guess, like I say, time progressed. I guess they say, well, this person really is enthusiastic, as you mentioned. And I say, well, yeah, I am. I just love this stuff. But I mean, you ask and I will, you know, come on, you know, I'll do this. You know, we want to have fun. Yes, let's do this, you know, and that's pretty much what my channel is all about. Just me doing what I want to do and not making no big bones about it, you know, and that's about it. You know,
and you said it right. It's an outlet for this, because a lot of places you go, you're not going to find people like you and I just out and about. We kind of have to go far and wide to find, oh, and look, another Godzilla fan, another God. Let me talk to you. Don't leave, you know, and
right.
At least here with the, you know, with internet, with streaming and all of this, with content creation, we can get all of us together and just geek out. You know, Everett here's talking about being a kind of a family. Yeah, content creating family. My boy Don Gully, he talks about Kaiju family and his sci-fi nerd. I want you all out here who are watching, definitely smash the like button here, give Walter some love, and check out his channel. Do a search right there for that Jedi Grand Velle, right?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah. Is there some Star Wars background, not just Kaiju? I mean, you're a geek of all trades, I'm sure, like me.
Oh my God, I was, you know what? And I swear I wasn't even going to bring this up, because I was like, well, I was going to point that out, but I was like, nah, that's probably not too interesting. But you brought it up, so I got to say it. Jedi Grand Velle, basically, it's nothing more than this. Yes, I am a Star Wars fan. As I mentioned earlier, when Star Wars came out, instant fan, pretty much that. I love the Sith. I love the Jedi. Yes, Jedi Grand Velle is nothing more than something that I created as a pseudonym for me back in the late 2000s. I originally called myself just nickname. My nickname is not that. It's actually, it's going to be sounding embarrassing. Two Toots to my family and friends. But I decided to call myself Grandmaster Walter at one point, which I did. But it didn't sound really way I wanted to flow. So I said, just call yourself Grandmaster W. And that's how it came to be, just Grandmaster W. But then I said to myself, I want to do something different than just that. It didn't really have no great punch like it does now. So I decided to shorten it up, but kind of add something else to it that shows that it is part of me. Even though W is representing Walter, I say, let me share something else. I say, well, I listened to all these other all these different names that you hear in Star Wars. I'm trying to say what his name is. I can't even say his name. Christopher Lee's character in Star Wars is Count Dooku. Count Dooku. Yeah. That's what I was trying to think of. Count Dooku, something like that. I say, well, let me try something here. So I decided to put on Jedi, and I say, let me take the Grand off of Grandmaster, and then Vale, believe it or not, is just shortened for my middle name, which is Love Vale. I just took the L-A off there and just left the Vale on there, and pretty much that's all she wrote. So now when you hear Jedi Grand Velle, that's who I'm known. That's what I'm known as on this channel, on my channel. So it's something that just came out of the blue. I never thought it was going to really stick, but I feel like, you know what? Play around with it. You might be surprised who might catch on, who might be interested in wondering, why do you call yourself Jedi Grand Velle? And when you asked me, I was like, wow, I didn't think he's going to ask me this, but I realized that that had to happen. So there you go.
Yeah, we got Star Wars fans in the house too. Lee Powers.
Yeah.
He's also talking about how he trying to go far and wide to find a Godzilla fan. Apparently, West Texas, there's a shortage of them over there. Star Wars is a big. Everett's a big fan of Star Wars as well. He's got a small lightsaber and figure collection. I saw his lightsaber on his channel, and so yeah, he's big into the Godzilla. Masters of the Universe, we talk a lot of geek stuff too, so and Star Wars is kind of always there. Star Trek you mentioned earlier too. Love my Trek. There's some great stuff out there, and it's funny. I'd like to talk to people about maybe another geek culture IP that's out there that maybe they dabbled in or heard of but didn't really actually check out. So I'll talk to him about like Dune. It's a little bit more obscure, or like some of the unknown more underground Disney, I guess you could call them. They made a movie called The Black Hole in '79. They did Tron, of course, the original Tron. Some people kind of forget about it, and I'm like, oh, check it out. You gotta show some love for some of these classics that are out there. Yeah. And so, but non-Godzilla monsters, non-Godzilla kaiju, what do you kind of consider your favorite of the non-Godzilla style monsters? Doesn't even need to be Toho. It doesn't even need to be Japanese. It could be American or British, right, or whatever.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Tell you the truth, my favorite Honda film is not Godzilla. I mean, even though I love that 54 Godzilla, my favorite Godzilla film. Stop it. My favorite Honda film is actually Matango. Matango is actually my favorite Shiro Honda film. It is by far the best film of his that me personally I enjoy. And the funny thing is about that, I just watched it at random. I mean, I didn't try to, just say, okay, I'm gonna watch it and see what it's like, yada yada yada. But when I watched it, I was like, wow, this film really has an impact on, people in general, and showing that what happens when people are kind of unhinged anyway, get more unhinged when they take certain elements away from them. And watching that, it was just like, just a mind-blowing experience. And I realized this is, and I've, like I say, I've pretty much seen all of Honda's films. I mean, not all of them, but I mean, majority of them. But that one in particular really stuck out for me. And to this day, it's by far my favorite, non-Godzilla film to date, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's one that I'm going to have to bring you back on so we can dedicate an hour just to Matango, because I love Matango too. It's so out there. It's so unlike
it is
your other kaiju films, and it's kind of like, but it's still got that the Toho studio actors that you're familiar with, and Akira Kubo and Yoshio Tsuchiya, all of those great actors that you see in other films. And so whether you call it kaiju or not, it is kaiju. I mean, the mushroom people are monsters. They don't have to be giant monsters, but they are certainly monstrous, whether they're real or not. But that's something, if you guys in the chat there have not seen, check out Matango. It's definitely worth a watch. There's a lot of other great Honda films that people kind of forget that he did, like your Atragon and Latitude Zero, and your like Gorath,
Battle in Outer Space.
Battle in Outer Space. Oh yeah, I love it. And my personal favorite, Varan.
Yes, Varan. Varan is now granted, that's a very, people might say whatever. It actually is a very underrated film. It's actually got where it counts.
Oh yeah,
good film.
Absolutely. Yeah. So definitely, guys, out there, if you're a Matango fan, you got to smash that like button. I don't know if this counter up here is correct or not, but let's get that. It says 1, and I'm like, I know we got more people in the chat than 1. Come on, guys, let's get that up there. Smash that, as Everett would say, atomic blast that like button. So hope I'm not getting Everett in trouble at work. So anyways, yeah, so you've been a Godzilla fan since the beginning, a monster fan, giant kaiju, and all that. I know, and when I checked out your channels, of course, you got your collectibles. What else do you like to share on your channel other than maybe show off a collectible?
Well, as I say, because like I say, my channel has actually been around been around less than 10 years. I would like to, when I say like to, I'll share more than just kaiju related information. I mean, like I say, I have a friend of mine that does that. He shares something that's superhero like Marvel or DC or anything other sci-fi related materials. It pretty much is kind of a touch and go, because it is kaiju. Like I say, mostly it's kaiju related, but I try to because I actually did something where I talked about, which is coincidentally, today is 9/11. I actually talked about my experience when that event happened. And I talked about it, and I said how it affected me personally, and showed how that even though, it's not something that's dealing with, well, in a way, it is kind of dealing with monsters. It's dealing with the human monster, the human element, because we as human beings, we are probably worse than the monsters that we create on TV or screen or even write, and it's scary to know that when that event happened, it actually felt like a movie. To me personally, it felt like it was a television show. It's like it's in a comic book or whatever. And I was just like, is this real? Can this be actually real? But it affected me more than I thought it did. And when I actually when the situation pretty much calmed down and everything, I realized that this is more prevalent to how, this is how I relate to, say, monsters in general, knowing that they are destructive, but they're not on the level of, surprisingly, not on the level of human nature, because human beings, we've made planes and bombs that blow people up. We made atomic weapons of mass destruction, and knowing that we can kill people in an instant just by taking two things that are not supposed to do anything as far as just fly people across the world, can use them as weapons, makes you realize how much of monsters we really can be if we allow that, and I wanted to talk about that because it's more of a philosophical discussion when I was discussing, because knowing how we react, how we do things, and knowing that people die and do stuff because of something they really believe, it's just like, okay, you believe it, but is it really making any sense in doing that? Because who do you think is going to harm in the end? You might think like, oh, I'm doing it and I'm glad that I did it, but in the end, it's not really helping anybody. So I try to do stuff like that, as far as that kind of discussion, because I like to talk about more philosophical, more, things that are relatable in terms of how we as human beings, how we can do a little bit of better of a job with the world, politically, religiously, philosophically. It's those kind of things. And in a way, I feel it is more kaiju related, monster related, because monsters to me, we create them, but it seems like we act more like the monsters we create. It's almost like a Frankenstein motif, almost. It's weird how that is, but that's exactly how I try to do. Try to bring on more, thought process in terms of, okay, I want people to understand that, yeah, look at Jurassic Park. We bring back something that's been dead for over 1 million years, but should we do that? Should we play God in that sense? I don't think so, because, what was dead then should be brought back to life now. And yet you think like, okay, it's going to be something money making, but it's like, that's not a good idea, people. You got to stop and think. Look at the bigger, broader picture, and this is kind of the things I like to do. I like to bring out that kind of, the mentality of showing that, hey, some things don't need to be brought to light again, That's what I try to do on my channel, though.
And I got a quick follow-up to that here in a second. I want to respond to Loosely Collected out there talking about Matango.
Oh, wow.
Just because he hasn't seen it and you're not showing your ignorance. It is kind of a it's really, kind of somewhat obscure. Obviously, it's, if you're a kaiju fan and stuff, you start digging into Ishiro Honda and all the Toho films. It's one that's definitely a must see. But yeah, not a lot of people have heard about it. I got to tell you, I didn't see it until my adulthood either. I don't know about you, but it was definitely later in life that I did get the chance to see it.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah. So, but anyways, it was, it's definitely bizarre, but I'll tell you, I think his name is Jonathan here, Loosely Collected. Check out on my channel, just give a little plug for monster trailers, search for Matango in my monster trailers. I've got a little, just a little snippet. Yeah, it is very eerie, and it's got the horror elements, kaiju, everything Toho, and even some humor and some survivalist aspects to it. It's got a little bit of everything, so I'd encourage you to check out the
I would even go far. Let me make this quick. I would even go as far as saying that some people might disagree. I would say that it's almost the grandfather of the J horror film of the J horror statue, because it's not like the J horror films of the day, but it kind of has that element of J horror. But I mean, like I say, it was tamed by that standard back then. But now it is the films that we see now. That JR, if you've ever seen a JR, they are outrageous, So I think to say, kind of like what Airport was to disaster films, the Tongo was to J horror films.
Yeah, well, it has so many aspects, and of course, the psychological aspect of what's going on is terrifying. You're kind of living through these cast members as they're slowly losing their minds, and you're I don't know if you're so much rooting for them, or at least you're rooting for some of the main characters to survive.
Right.
Like you kind of put yourself in their shoes, but some of the others you're kind of like, oh man, they're getting what they deserve. But it's like, oh man. But
it's sad, but yes,
it is. But getting back to just what you said and bringing some philosophy into your channel, I think that's great too, because having these discussions is important. What you mentioned about 9/11 makes it interesting, because I think when we watch the destruction on screen in a movie, we're real disconnected from that. We don't know who those people are. We don't know who, is in because we're disconnected. We got our main characters we're following, and a lot of the times they survive, and then they step back and watch the monster action happen, but they're kind of, they're not worried about all the people in the buildings and everything that are collapsing around them. 9/11 happens, and we are watching like you said, what looks like a movie, but this is real life. Those are real people that breathe the same air, the oxygen that we breathe here. And so we're saying, yeah, this is a lot more real to me. Yeah, Godzilla can destroy huge cities, the entirety of New York if he wanted to, but we are very much impacted by what happened with those buildings, those planes, and the Pentagon, and what happened out in Pennsylvania. And so yeah, that is where I think we might say these destruction scenes desensitize us, but I still think when the reality hits, we are still human and we still care for one another.
That's a very good point. And I think that's why it affected me so much, because I really thought, because we see so much of this violence on television, movies, and everything. But as you say, that's the key word, desensitized. And I really thought, wow, you see these planes go into these buildings and you see these explosions, it's like, this is okay, this can't be real, and that's why, as you say, you get desensitized so much about it. And it's like, take a step back and realize, like, no, dude, this is real life. This is not some film or whatever. This is a real event happening, and knowing that, and people are dying, it's not no you see people die in films, but that's just play acting. No, people are really losing their lives at this moment. So you can't just rewind and see it again and play or fast forward to it. No, this is actually happening. And knowing that actually happened, it's a thing that we have to keep in mind, that yes, life is not a video game. Life is not a television show. Life is not a movie. Life is life. And we have to remind ourselves time and time again that, we have to make a better choice in what we do in terms of what might come next, because who knows who might be the next person to cause another 9/11 or whatever, because we can't say that it could never happen again. Pearl Harbor happened, we never expected that to happen. This happened, we can never know. We don't know what the human mind is capable of doing, whatever. And whatever it does, we just got to be careful. We just got to be hopefully we can be ready for it or prepared for it, but we're never really prepared for it.
You're right about that. And we're going to start wrapping up here. And this is definitely a conversation I'm really glad we're having. Donnie Winter's in the house.
Donnie, yes.
Have you? Yeah, I was on his show. He's on mine recently. So yeah, we've got some great content. Another great Kaiju content creator out there. And I think that's what's great about this. We all love the giant monster Godzilla and all of his rubber suited friends or his CGI friends, and we've also got we've got so many, so much great content out there to be entertained by, but each other as fans, we're humans, we're connected by this, but we're also finding that we're connected by so much more, and that we have differences, but we can set aside those differences because we can say we have this love for this, and we can connect on that. We can leave politics and everything else off to the side, because here's something we enjoy. Here's something that speaks to us, and I think that's what's great about bringing Kaiju fans like this together and having these discussions and important conversations, which I really appreciate your time and bringing yourself on here and having your discussion with me. I'm definitely going to have you on for a future episode, because
I hope so, because like I say, in the time we've done it, it's gone by pretty fast. I've enjoyed it, I've loved it. I'm thankful for being here, so I'd love to do it again.
Absolutely. Yes. We'll be doing that, and we'll keep in touch with that. And for everyone out there, again, go to YouTube, check out Jedi Grand Velle, look up him on YouTube, and subscribe, all of those great things, and look him up, because he's got some great content out there, and I know he likes to collab and be on these kind of shows and do these back and forth. So really glad to have you. And of course, out there, I want everyone to hit the subscribe, and all that here on the Monster Report. We are growing quickly. We've just about hit that 90 as the time of this recording anyways. About hit the 91,000 mark.
Let's go for 100. Let's go for 100.
That's the goal. We're going. We're going all the way. And it's because of content creators sharing and also just fans out there. Every time the like button is hit, you just bring a smile to our faces. So yeah, so show some love for all of us kaiju content creators out there. So anyways, well, thank you again, Walter, for your time. We are definitely gonna, continue this conversation another day and pick a topic. Thank you all for watching and all of that great thing. We're looking forward to seeing more from Toho and Legendary Pictures coming up soon, and of course there's plenty of collectibles out there for us because we're just big into the consuming, right? So we love it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we can't get enough of this stuff. So stick around for just a few minutes after we go off the air, Walter, so we can say our proper goodbyes. But thank you out there for joining in on the chat. You've been great.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
And we will catch you on another episode of the Monster Report Live here in the near future. And have a great evening, all of you. Thank you.